True. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for those of you who don't know me, I was just introduced before, my name is Rory. Even though for the last couple of days my name could have easily been mistaken for, just make sure you don't drink too much before you speak tonight, alright? That was... So even after my debacle at Julian and Dion's engagement party, Gary has given me the privilege of being best man, and I would just like to say that I really appreciate it, man. It means a lot to me. You know? I'm proud to be best man. And on behalf of the bridesmaids, I'd like to thank Gary for his kind words, and like to add that Bree, Lauren and Michelle looked absolutely ravishing today, only outshone by our lovely bride, Amy. More luminous a bride I could not imagine. To charm such a beautiful person, take someone that is intelligent, handsome, considerate, and highly charismatic. But, you know, enough about me. I am here today to share you a couple of stories about Gaza.
Yeah!
Gary was born on the 17th of May 1985, sharing his birthday with such notables as Kurt Russell, Nat King Cole, and Patrick Duffy. On this landmark day in history, Matti Näikinen of Finland set a world ski jump record of 623 feet.
Go, Natty.
That happened. Gary came to Australia to study with many of the people that are here today. I'm sure you all know who they are. Yeah? I've known Gary for over 10 years now, but before we became friends, at school, I just, before we became friends, I sort of knew him as, the wealthy Asian guy. I don't know if that's over the top, but I and others would often huddle like hyenas around the tuck shop, waiting for Gary to disperse his spare change at school. After he would buy lunch in the hope to afford some form of food for ourselves. But our first... No, seriously, man, that happened. That actually happened. I'd be a few pounds lighter. But our first real encounter was down by the stream. There was this lovely stream in our school with a little bit of grass and all that. And this was in grade 8, and we were all sitting around on the grass, and Gary had left a burger neatly wrapped and ready to devour, and it was just waiting for him there. It looked like it was, plated in gold. You should have seen this thing. It was pretty good. And Gary probably made it, by the way. And I thought, and I was just looking at it, and I thought, what the hell? I'm gonna take a bite of this. Gary wasn't there, and he didn't realise. And Gary came back and saw what had happened, and all hell broke loose. This is our first sort of proper encounter. And, back in the day, there was no higher form of disrespect than to take a bite of another man's burger. And on top of that, if you know Gary at all, it was a blatant disregard for basic hygiene.
Oh, it's true.
I was hated. It was really bad, and I was at the top of Gary's hit list. And I was pretty damn scared at the time. There's a few stories floating around, but despite all this, through all my numerous pathetic apologies and trying to make it up to him, we became the best of friends. And we would spend much of our time going, throughout high school, we'd spend much of our time cruising around in his car with this mighty, powerful exhaust, reaping havoc around town, eating good food, drinking like it was going out of fashion. And one outstanding night on the drink was at the fondly remembered Victory Hotel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the excitement began when I managed to accidentally project a glass out of the top story window, landing directly in front of some bouncers. Sirens. The police had arrived, and Gary came to my defence. And suddenly, none of the authorities had their eyes on me, and it was Gary that was in a pickle. After, you could say, raising his voice, maybe, at the police for a while, Gary's handcuffs became tighter. And he was as he was being placed in the back of the paddy wagon, I believe his words were, "Do you know who I am? My lawyers will destroy you." And that was the end of that.
What will destroy you?
My lawyers. Ever since Gary and Amy met, Gary has become far more responsible though. And his love for her is brutally obvious. She brings out the best in Gary, and I couldn't imagine a couple more perfect for each other. So, if I could ask you to be upstanding and raise your glasses in a toast to the bride and groom.
Bride and groom.
May your love be everlasting.
Well done, brother. Yeah.
Well done, Rory. That's pretty good, mate.
Yeah, brother. That was good. That was the best speech ever, man.
You may have heard already, Stephen mentioned that Sage and Joe, unfortunately they couldn't be
I
here
had
tonight.
tears in my eyes.
But Sage has done a letter up for me to read out.
Oh, still recording.